Oh, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again. We're here taking a look at the most wonderful game that we all love to play so much, and we love to watch as well. Navi facing off against Team Liquid. I'm Lyrical, joined as well by Draskell. Andy, we've had a little bit of a sleep, we've had a little bit of a break. The teams have as well, but now we're back on the grind. We find out who's going to the upper bracket today. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready to see this game. I mean, obviously yesterday we saw let's just say we saw a lot of stuff. Not all of it was super good and all of it was super bad, but I think it's kind of like we were discussing that a lot of these teams haven't really played any tournaments in a month, so maybe a lot of it's just not really early patch jitters, but they've probably only been scrimming and playing pubs, and it's the season's finally like fully kicked off. We got another tournament going on, and it's time to shape up. So hopefully both of these teams can bring their A game today.
Yeah, I think that that's a pretty fair assessment. I was watching back like a couple of the moments from yesterday, and it felt like there were a couple of games where things just got chaotic, particularly towards the end. That
Yes.
Liquid versus Pain series, to me, game three just seemed insane. Those one just like kept dropping all their ultimates on top of each other. But that was more to me like a product of the way that Liquid were playing against Pain in particular, and I want to see if either of these teams really changed their style drastically going into this series against each other. Because it didn't really feel like Liquid stuck to one particular style. They did play with the Slark and IO, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll see how it goes.
I think the like Sark as a hero, in my opinion, is one of the strongest safe laners.
Okay.
I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of really bad matchups. I mean, one of the heroes that are still in the pool that we can look out for is like OD.
Right.
That's probably one of his worst. PL is pretty good as well, just because you don't really have great ways of dealing with illusions. If you hit a pounce, it's kind of nice, but other than that, it can be a little bit problematic. So we'll see what route Navi decides to take. I'm not exactly sure which heroes, Crystal Eyes are super comfortable on besides like Void. I think that was one of his most like comfort zone picks. But yeah, I like the Sark opening. It's quite hard to completely shut him down. He gets across the map fast. The other big thing is you basically can kill every ward as long as you're
Right.
paying attention. And that's one of the big selling points of the hero as well. And I just think it's a bit strange actually that like how much teams either favor or don't care about puck. Because yesterday we saw Payne like last pick puck, I think at
Mm.
one point, and just completely owned the game with it. And in this game, we now see puck like first phase. I know that we've seen it first phase banned like quite a few times.
Right. Well, but the team that gave it up was like we're talking about Liquid. It seems as if Liquid are the team that really does not rate this hero as highly. They're not scared of it. They don't pick it for themselves. Just as far as other teams in the tournament right now, it has 5 picks and a 60% win rate. I want to check out in a second also how many times it's been picked and banned or banned as well, because I feel like that number is going to be a lot higher. It is one of the more contested heroes right now. It's got 76% picked or banned. So it's kind of all over the place, but I guess there are a couple of those teams that don't really like it. What makes this hero so strong? Why do some teams rate it so highly?
I think it's simply because first off, you bring essentially triple nuke, right? Like your coil does do instant damage again, not a whole lot, but every little bit helps. And a lot of the time, as long as you can force the enemy team to want to like retreat, right?
Hmm.
Then coil becomes one of the strongest ultimates because just how much damage it does when you snap it. So when you have tiny, all you really have to do is toss people.
Mm.
And as long as you can, like I said, force the engagement after the coil comes out, then it makes it much stronger. A lot of the time when puck feels really weak is when, let's say, you coil like a tiny with full status resistance. He's got Satanic and SMY.
Right.
He's not going to care about, standing there and just hitting you. So whenever you have those heroes that are really good at like manning up and you can't force them to want to snap the coil, then I think the hero is just fundamentally weak. The other thing is, when you have to stay in close proximity, things like Chain Frost, obviously we're not going to see Lich here. He's banned. But anything that makes you not want to clump up is really good whenever you have a puck. And more than anything else, he's catch throughout the entire game. So if you get coiled, obviously you can't run. But when you get Aghanims, even if you have a BKB, you can no longer TP out, even if you have a BKB. And there's not a lot of heroes in the game that go from being able to initiate fights like that to also make heroes who naturally buy BKB and put in situations where they have to use it in a suboptimal manner.
Right.
Like that really sucks for core heroes. And you can even do it from like a 4 a 5 or a 3 position. It doesn't necessarily have to be that mid puck.
And I mean, you're seeing right now, Liquid, they didn't feel that worried about the puck, but now they're taking a really long time. This is all of their reserve time. I will say that this happens, I think, occasionally. I remember back when we'd like watch Wings at TI6, and they would always take a ton of time for their third pick because it always feels like that's the big like turning point in the draft where you have to reveal something else outside of just that opening. So Sand King going to be the option that they go for. Previously, they played this with Alina, and then they got rolled because of an aggressive tri lane, or a defensive tri lane, I guess. What do you think about the Sand King?
I think it's just solid initiation. Like it's obviously a boxy comfort zone hero. We saw him play it yesterday, albeit it was the Lena Sand King lane that did not do very well.
Right.
But that was more a product of them getting tri-laned, I think, than individually his abilities on the hero. But instant stuns are always nice. There's a puck on the enemy team, so that's like another really cool thing to have. You think of the instant stuns like a Hex from a Shadow Shaman or a Lion or Rubik Lift. Obviously, he's also banned. Sand King is also another one of those heroes that can threaten the puck. And it's always really nice to have that because some games, especially when, puck is picked in the first phase, he ends up with a free game anyway because there's only a handful of those types of disables. The other things that you can look for are silences, but let's be honest, besides Drow, not a lot of heroes are picked right now that actually have that utility.
Yeah, it's really few and far between, definitely. We do have the Naga Siren Tau taken, as well as the Ancient Apparition. We saw a lot of Naga played yesterday with Disruptor. That one first phase banned out by Team Liquid. I was looking, by the way, at the some of the most bans, and it looks like Timbersaw is actually the most banned hero, which is really weird. I think this is one of the first tournaments where that's happened. I don't expect it to be that way by the end of it, but I guess he hard counters certain ones, and those are a lot of the heroes that are getting played right now. And he is first phase banned here.
Yeah, the Nagas, the PLs, the Magnus, those types of heroes that really don't scale that heavily in the physical damage department in the early game. And even if they do, right, like Timber just has reactive stacks anyway.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to take him down. You're pretty much forced to build a vessel if you really want to deal with that hero directly. And, Navi do have the heroes. Like AA can buy it. Depending on what role the puck is, you can buy it on that hero as well. But it's just one of those items that sometimes you don't really want to be forced into buying. As Navi, they're going to go ahead and round out their lineup with Enigma, which is it's pretty solid. It's good against the three openers, I would say, of Liquid. But Phoenix by nature plays very far from the engagement until he sees his opportunity. You can't really use egg stun to stop a black hole. It's because by the time the egg goes off, the black hole's pretty much already been full channeled anyway. But it is one of those abilities that can potentially interrupt it.
I guess likewise with Magnus RP, but that's one of the ones that's a little bit funky to try and do too. If you skewer, does the skewer complete to break the black hole? Do you know? I have no idea.
I believe if you skewer from the behind where the black hole's being cast. So let's say he's behind Pasha and then he skewers into his back. I think it stops it. But if you go on from the other way, because the black hole's in front of the hero, you just get trapped in it.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't just go through it. You will get caught.
There is
that would
some
be crazy.
That would be awesome. You have so much inertia that your horn just hits Enigma in the face.
Yeah, light can't escape, but apparently thick Magnus can. That's no big deal,
There was some weird interactions like that with Earth Spirit. I remember I was rolling around sometimes and I rolled through. I don't remember what it was. It was some ability where I was like, that's not how that should work. Or Spirit Breaker when he would finish his charge after he died. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I have seen a couple of weird things like that. I always thought it was strange, for example, that Storm Spirit can ball lightning through Chronosphere.
Yeah.
So, apparently stopping time doesn't count for lightning, I guess. I don't know.
Zip-zap.
There is some interesting interactions in this game. We'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we've got the full squad that are out here. I'm again getting recollections of yesterday where we just saw 3 or 4 ultimates dropped onto Mandy's head. This time, it kind of feels like Navi could just go for a song into Black Hole on top of Slark. And I mean, I guess the counterplay there is an IO relocate, but if they get the AA ulti on him before that happens, he's not going to be regen anyways. Are you concerned about the Slark's game?
I mean, there's a lot of AoE stuff that you really just don't want to run into if you're Mickey this game. So there are concerns. I mean, you accidentally miss time, your Dark Pact, you eat a Puck Silence, you get hit by AA Blast, any disable, and you are squishy this game. There's no doubt about that. And because of the fact that Liquid only really have one reliable like BKB disable for the black hole, it can get, you just have to rely on your team. You just have to trust
Okay.
them. That's basically what it boils down to. I mean, in pubs, if I'm playing the Slark, I'm going, dear God, please let my mag be a god gamer. That's the guy who's going to be able to reliably stop that black hole.
Right.
But it also depends on what kind of game Pasha has. Like all these things are assuming that he gets to that point where BKB is out or he has a blink or whatever. He may just go for the aura items and try to force the pressure during the mid game just so he's not going to get farm. So a lot of it boils down to what items he gets, how they want to play it, and if he doesn't get a BKB until like 35 plus minutes, then Mickey's got a fair amount of time to get his own items.
Okay. That seems fair enough then. I guess that it does depend a lot upon that laning stage, like you're talking about, where if Pasha does just get completely demolished and Slark's out of control, then well, that's the game, most likely, at least to some extent. But it's going to be Mickey and Insania down here on the bottom side. Does look like Taiga's going to go in to try and secure this rune, and Elias is going to see him. Burrow strikes some illusions, and then does a little jitterbug out of there.
Yeah, so it's actually going to be 3 for 1. Yeah, because no one's contesting the top rune. They're just leaving Boxy up here, and the makings of a tri-lane, at least for the moment, coming out from Liquid.
Do you think that this is influenced at all by what happened with them yesterday? And the fact that they just got like demolished by the tri-lane of Pain?
Well, I do think that when you are going to form a tri-lane, it needs to be able to stop the hero that you're laning against from farming. And, I mean, it's not the strongest tri-lane, I'll say that. But if they throw some spells out on Crystallize, hit him a few times, Mickey either goes for the Essence Shift or the Pounce, they could potentially stop him. But the other thing is, since he's on his tower, right? So you're not going to really stop him from getting EXP.
Yeah. No, it's true. That's going to be one of the issues. He'll still be able to get that. I will say that I'm really curious how this core Phoenix works. It's a hero that we saw in that role for a while, but not that recently, unless there's something that I've been missing with Boxy's games recently. What do you think are like the main causes for them to want to go for the Phoenix in the position 3 role?
Well, there's not really that many good egg hitters on Na'Vi. Like Puck, you can, but you really got to be good with your fascia so you don't get hit by fire spirits. Naga, you're going to have to use Mirror Image to dispel yourself. Tiny has naturally low attack speed once you start putting points into Grow. And it's just really annoying to have to hit egg with these heroes. Like Enigma doesn't want to do it either, right? And you can't put the Eidolons on it because it doesn't really do anything. So yeah, it's just a really nice game for Supernova, in my opinion. And he's actually killing Zaya here.
Dude, the courier bait was so sick. He got the spirits on him so Zaya couldn't punch the courier. That keeps it alive. Wow. That's something
I would have just missed that spirit, by the way, and then my courier would be dead and I'd be sad. I'm so bad at Phoenix Miracle. It's like offensive how bad I am.
Oh, dude, it's a hard hero. It's you gotta get like 4 skill shots in a row, right?
Yeah, it is definitely one of those. It's like the Winter Wyverns and the Disruptors, those heroes that are really easy to mess up and just either kill your teammates or kill yourself.
Yeah, you accidentally just like egg in front of everybody, and you didn't cast spirits or something like that. Maybe that's just a me special, but regardless. Bottom lane, going okay for Slark. 9-3.
Foxy might be dead here.
Uh-oh. He's got Fairy Fire? Another round? Oh, you need to cast that other one earlier. But it doesn't work out. And Pasha gonna draw first blood. Not a bad start. It's gonna be interesting. I know it's been talked to death already, but seeing all of these ex-Virtus Pro players spread off to the wind and seeing how they do. Pasha's been a kind of somebody I always like watching. Very cool player.
Yeah, I always considered him to be quite good in the 3 position here, as Fox is going to get tossed in again. He's going to be forced to use the Icarus dive. But I think it's always strange whenever one of those really like strong tier 1 style teams kind of disbands, and then like you mentioned, the players go their separate ways, because a lot of the time, as much as it is about individual skill, it's also how you work together. And it's also the patch and how well that fits your players. There's so many different things about Dota, especially competitively, that make teams of that caliber. So even if you have a really individually talented player and you just go from team to team, there's no guarantees, right?
Yeah.
Because you still have the 4 other people and you need to have the synergy. and maybe it's just not your patch.
They did not realize that Tagio was up here as they moved into position and weren't able to get anything off of that rotation, but realizing that there's a lot of pressure up there, they need to send him up top to help out with the Phoenix, it looks like. Or maybe they just feel like Mickey's got enough of a lead at this point that he can be left alone against Crystallizer with Insania.
I think it's more about the fact that Boxy hit 3.
Okay.
The second point of the Fire Spirits is essentially doubling the damage of the spell. So that's actually a power spike for Phoenix a lot of the time. So now that he's 3 and Taiga has a point of the Sandstorm and the Stun, it means that they have kill potential now. Whereas if they were both level 2, you know, the Phoenix would not feel nearly as potent in this lane.
He's also going to be able to help out getting those pulls while Phoenix can keep harassing back and keeping Pasha somewhat low. So they get that pull off, can protect it as well. Mid lane, Quakeva having a really good time on Magnus so far. He's about 8 CS up on the puck, as well as a couple of denies there.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that he gets 40% damage and a 70% cleave at 5 minutes in?
It's all skill. That's all it is. It's nothing
Don't
else.
Don't get me wrong. Max is a great player and everything, but this is... I have a huge problem with this hero, like, functionally.
That seems reasonable. It's always funny when, like, you have to commentate on the games and you see this hero doing well and you're like, God damn it, I've seen this hero in every single one of my games. Just bully me.
Like him and PL, man. It's just everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mickey is taking a beating over here with all these Naga Siren illusions. Puck, mid lane, was taking also a beating from Quake as he's animation canceling his RP, striking fear into the heart of Magical. He's playing it a little bit close there, but does look like he's going to be fine. So a relatively slow start.
Yeah, well, it's to be expected, right? Like, Navi, they're not going to do much until the puck starts to rotate. He has just hit 6 on Magical, so he'll be ready to throw out a coil if he wants to. Very easy to kill top, actually. Coil just kills Phoenix at this point in the game. So if they want to rotate, that's a freebie. Insania is their other really easy kill on the side of Navi, so we'll see where Magical decides to go. Picks up a haste. It's probably just going to run straight towards bottom. Yep, here we go.
Let's see if they can get it. Mickey just level 4. They did have no vision down there, so they didn't realize that this was going on, but the coil comes out already, and poor old Slark is going to drop, and also Insania in a little bit of trouble now, trying to get the courier and the Wisp, and it looks like that might just happen as Magical, bottling up through the tower damage that comes through, switches over to the illusions and head back mid, and he only missed 1 creep of experience. Not bad.
Yeah. That was a really nice rotation. I mean, obviously lucky that he got the haste rune, but you also have to make the play to get the haste rune, so Boxy's going to dive away top here. I think Taiga really does much here, just gets the farm, pushes the wave out. But yeah, the build he's going is nice on the puck. He went for the 131, the extra points into the Waning Rift to make sure that Slark can't just like Dark Pact and pounce out of the coil. I didn't catch that at first, so that's my bad. But some pucks really like going for this style of build where you know that you're going to be able to keep someone in the coil longer. And some people like to just go like for the max or build, just farm. But this type of game, I think that Navi want to be playing aggressive all the time.
Right. Yeah, and that extra damage there, the extra silence, it's all good stuff for being able to keep them stuck in there. And that sort of works well with having an AA on your team also, making sure that he's going to be able to get that Ice Blast off. Gotta say, Quakeva, yeah, 70 CS now at 7.5 minutes. Not top net worth because a lot of that's jungle, but as you said, to be expected, and also has a trusty shovel for himself. So far, doing what Mag does, level ahead of the puck after that rotation.
This is just more about what Magical can do in the side lanes. Like, he's going to get another rune. This time it's an illusion, though. Not really, like, the most useful. But, he's going to go for his treads, most likely go for a Blink Dagger, just so he's capable of starting those fights. And they're just going to keep trying to continually apply pressure with this hero. Even if it wasn't Mag, the puck has a tendency to fall behind an EXP because he wants to leave mid a lot, like especially when he has coil up and his other heroes are, raring to go. He just wants to be that guy moving around the map, making things happen.
Okay. Moving around the map right now is Quakeva. They do spot this rotation that's coming in. The other thing to keep in mind is looking at the net worths. Boxy is definitely the one that's been feeling the pain in this game so far. Not getting a whole lot, but one of the heroes that definitely relies more upon the experience than necessarily just the gold. You love to get, farm on it if you can, but it's not the end of the world if he gets sacked slightly.
Yeah, EXP is the name of the game for him. As long as he hits 6, like he should have it before the 10-minute mark. He's going to do a pull here. Hopefully, if Zach doesn't stop him. And then Supernova plus Egg. Honestly, it's excuse me. Supernova and Egg are the same spell. Yeah, Spirits plus Egg.
Yeah,
very potent against these heroes, like we mentioned before, that can't hit the Egg.
Yeah, absolutely. Broom handle, got for the Sand King. So I tried to interrupt the pull, but Boxy was able to pull it back the other direction. So just battling for the experience here, and it's going to push underneath the tower, it looks like, afterwards. So it should be fine for Boxy. Seeing if he can get a little bit fresh and fancy-free onto Tiny. But not really going to be able to amount to much. So yeah, another, as you mentioned, somewhat slow game until Puck makes those rotations. And right now does have that move down towards bottom, as he's eyeing up the Slark in the area again. But don't know if they're going to be able to bear fruit with this rotation. As Io just jumps away, and they're all fine and dandy.
Yeah, they're going to secure the outpost.
Oh.
Coil comes out.
Okay, they have Taiga in the area. I guess that's just to secure that outpost. They're not really going for anything. Well, maybe they're going to be able to find the kill onto Puck. He just gets eviscerated. Relocate. Top lane, Black Hole laid out onto Boxy. So they find one kill. Pasha trying to TP away, but they're going to be able to get the skewer back in under tower. And so Liquid will lose both of their outposts, but it comes at the cost of also losing the Puck and the Enigma.
I think I would be okay with that if I was Navi. Like, the double outpost is really important, right? Because it's 150 EXP per hero, so that's what, 750 total team EXP that they just lost out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, killing Magical is fine or whatever, but honestly, as a mid-puck, the only items you really care about having this game, I feel, are like Blink and Ags. If you have those two things, then everything else is just gravy.
Okay.
Right? Your Enigma is going to do a lot of damage as long as he can get his Black Hole off. You have a Naga Siren, AA Blast. I don't think they're going to be struggling for damage.
Seems reasonable. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is sort of all about getting that Naga Siren online. And making sure that Crystallize can carry the game for him eventually. So anything that gives more space to Naga is good for them indeed. Koikva has finished off the Echo Saber now. We'll see where they decide to go Liquid in terms of trying to take objectives. Or are they comfortable also sort of with just drawing out the game long? Like, can they play late game against a Naga Siren that's super farmed?
I think it's actually really hard for Liquid, like mid-late game, because they're not going to have a whole lot of answers for Black Hole. And when you have a game like that, if Pasha's doing his stuff and he's got his Blink Dagger and his BKB, it's really hard to play around that particular ultimate, because essentially what will happen is the mag can't commit as they're going on Taiga here.
Oh, they're actually going to reload in. So that is for sure defense. Magical throws out his orb. Liquid, they decide to get juked a little bit there, but now everybody's coming in, and Magical just like, why are you guys chasing me? 4 heroes all after him, but that's the danger of Relocate. So what looked like it could have been an easy kill on the Sand King turns into another death for the Puck.
Yeah, he is kind of getting caught in these really weird situations. I mean, the bottom one I can kind of forgive, as we're going to hear the egg go off in bot lane. But yeah, the outpost one I can forgive because you're sacrificing, you coil to make sure they can't stop the outpost cap. That one was a little bit more strange.
No. Crystallize. Oh, the one illusion revealed itself before he was able to find it, but the Ice Blast coming in connects onto Insania. Boxy did not get clipped by that one. So we'll see if they're able to bring down the Puck. He is going to tick out. So the Ancient Apparition gets that kill, and now with no IO, they're in a little bit more trouble. Silence comes out, long duration because of the maxed out, like you talked about Waning Rift, but they're going to be able to get the tower now for free. Egg was used earlier. Easy as pie.
Yeah, Puck completely destroys Phoenix. I mean, Silence just kills your entire kit. You can't dive out of the coil. So if you're not tanky enough to live through that at the 3.5-second silence, you are going to have a real bad time. And really easy tier 1 as well for Navi. And they kind of need to be playing this pace. You know, you don't really want to let Mag just have a free game. He's already got the Echo. He's almost got Blink, and it's only 14 minutes in. His farm is looking real solid. And this guy needs to do a lot this game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A broom handle in hand, too, is going to make it not much easier to glom onto these targets. But the double blink coming out now. Puck and Mag, as you said. Where do they want to go? Because you've got AA Ice Blast online now. They're going to smoke up with 2. Are they trying to find the Mag? Or are they going to see if they can maybe bait out some type of a reload and then blow up the Slark when he comes in? Lots of potential plays. It looks like they're just going to meet up with Zai at first, but there isn't anybody else down here to try and go on.
Yeah, they're just expecting that at some point Liquid are going to want to try to pressure their tier 1. But at the moment, you know, Liquid are content to just keep hitting their creeps. Taiga's really close to his own Blink, so they're going to have Blink Mag. The Blink Sand King is going to be out as well. And then obviously, like you just mentioned, you know, the Puck's got his. It's, I don't know, it's a really tense game because there's so many ultimates that you have to be scared of on both teams. Like on one side, you got the Epicenter and the Blink Dagger coming out, Supernova, RP, then a Navi. Like, Song's not skilled right now, but I assume that Crystallize is going to put points in.
Oh, they got to be careful about this. The jump in and the blow up. Boxy dies so quickly. Just can't.
Did they just get double outposted again?
Yeah. No.
Sorry,
15, 15.
It's 15, right. Old habits.
You remember when that happened? Where you just every 5 minutes, it's like, more experience for you, and you.
God, the game's just ended so fast. Everyone... Oh, nice little throw here on the Magical into RP. See you later.
So when they moved down there with Boxy, I thought that they were going to try and bait him, and then he, like, eggs, and then Quakefa RPs on top of him. But he just dies too quickly. And I guess, you know, we're talking about XP for Phoenix. The downside to being super underleveled is that you do just explode. That's not as great. As Pasha just gets a free tower mid lane and talks about those aura items, has the Helm of the Dominator already up. It's real nifty.
Yeah, he's holding on to a fair amount of gold right now, so I'm unsure if he's deciding whether he wants to just go for the pipe or if he wants to opt the Blink Dagger instead. It's tricky because having the pipe is great against like the Phoenix and the Sand King especially, but you also want to be able to get that positioning for the Black Hole. So I'm curious to see if he actually opts to finish the pipe or not, if he wants that like stability of having the magic damage reduction, or if he just says, you know what, if I get a good ult, we just win.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Well, I guess that maybe the Nagasiren Sleep can like be that thing that tries to set up for it. I don't know. It's a little bit tough though, because if you're using the song to initiate, then you're kind of really stuck in there. I will say.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that I really like the new Helm of the Dominator aura, where it just gets that extra bonus damage out for all of his Eidolons. It's kind of crazy how much damage you get out of that.
Yeah, it's the 30% base and then the 7 health regen. It's really, really good. And like Pasha so far, he's only died once, so they're not really halting his farm.
Yeah.
Okay, so he said, screw that, I'm not getting Blink or Pipe, I'm just fine to be KV. It's fair though. Like,
yeah.
if you can get in, like you mentioned, use the song to initiate or use the puck to initiate. He coils, you walk forward with BKB on. Unless you get RP'd, whoever's in that coil is getting black gold, and that is a very scary thing if you're Liquid right now.
Crystallize holding on to the Nether Shawl, kind of an interesting pickup to place onto him. I was thinking it would be on somebody else, but I mean, their main way that they deal with wave clear at this point is like, I guess, the like spell spam. Eventually, it's going to be with the empower damage, but Tiny is going to die down bottom to Taiga. Little gank coming out there. No RP used though.
Yeah, I think the shawl is actually quite nice on these super high armor heroes, because the Riptide does gain bonus from, you know, the Nether Shawl. It's 8% spell damage, and magic resistance is also the main thing that's going to kill you at this stage in the game, because again, you have 21 armor.
Right.
So it does kind of make sense in that way. It also helps you push the wave faster, as Riptide does a bit more damage. Let's see. Some offensive warding going on here from Liquid. They're going to get that nice ward that we talked about the other day between the two little pillars inside of the jungle, and then one by the bot rune. So yeah, it's still a pretty close game. The thing about like normally having a mag is that you kind of get to a point where you're just so beefy and you do so much damage that you can just kind of man up. But there's Midnight Pulse and Ice Blast. It doesn't matter what items you have, you cannot be tanky enough against those skills. Crystallize is going to be forced a song here, so see ya.
Yeah. You will be able to get out there.
And then bot again, Boxy. Oh no.
Dude, this guy is just getting worked. They're going to try and relocate in for this, but it is way too late. I think that this to me is like, that relocate tells me that they're really looking, like expecting that he would be able to live through that, and then they, you know, turn it around afterwards when he gets Supernova off. You know, it's that like bait the hero that has the save mechanic for himself.
Oh, they just have the sentry here.
Jesus, Taiga. They're going to chase forward for him. Toss an illusion, get the kill. It's really weird because it feels like Navi keeps on getting the better end of the deal for Liquid over and over again, but I can't help but feel like Liquid are still okay with this.
Well, it's because their 1 and 2 position are still very farmed.
Okay.
I think the real problem is for Liquid at least is going to come down to the fact that both their cores are melee, and they're melee against like Naga, AA, and Enigma. I think that's the thing that's really going to throw a wrench into their game plan. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's you can't play around it, but it's just a lot harder when your heroes have a tendency to clump up against these types of heroes that throw out, you know, ground AoEs in large number, and also, you know, Dream Coil once. And if the Aghanims does end up coming out.
Ooh. Oh, Boxy moving in. The silence comes out and they get him caught yet again. They keep on thinking they're going to be able to make this happen, but silence from the puck making so much happen.
Okay, and that time they did get double outposted, just so we're on the same page.
So that is twice. Yeah,
that's twice.
Oof. What's the
XP hurts, man. You want that because it's 350 per person at 20, I think.
Yeah. Well, that right there is like a pretty substantial swing back the other way. You can see it on the graph there. So,
yeah.
Well done for Navi, playing the best that they can around those objectives.
It's just so hard for Liquid to get in, you know? Like, even with these blinks, if you make a misstep, there's Song, there's the Black Hole follow-up, and then the Ice Blast. It's just so difficult for them to get into a fight and not just be terrified of those AoE ultimates.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing to me that's very interesting about this, too. Like, because in the past, it's been, okay, this team is really strong when they group up and fight, so we're just going to spread out across the map, get more XP than them. But now you have these outposts, and it, like, makes up for that XP loss that you have because you're grouped up together. Kind of interesting.
Well, they're getting outmaneuvered on the map,
okay,
like, for sure. Anytime that Liquid try to go for a full-on confrontation, they have a tendency to just back off. And if you're not going to fight, then you have to be on the other side of the map, you know? Yeah. Or you have to make them move around on the side of Navi.
This is a big kill. Pasha just drops it down right on his head. They bait out the illusions, and then Zayat, Link reveal. Quick
this could
and
be
easy.
Good for Liquid, though, if they want to turn this, because he does have buyback, and they're playing the Shrine area. The only downside is Liquid don't actually have vision of that side of the map. Their words are all offensive words. I don't think you can let them Roche here. You just saw that in Black Hole. I think you need to try to contest this.
Oh, wait, no, he bought out, though. He doesn't have buyback anymore.
Oh, wait, he did buy his items. Wait.
What? Why are they fighting right now, then? Mickey, he's going to blow up one. Now the epicenter coming through as well. Can they find this turnaround? The buyback comes from the Magnus, and they get the Supernova off as well. Looks like it's time to just evacuate Song of the Siren, pop up the Shrine, Navi regroup, and do they go again? They're thinking about it. Looking for an opening. Pasha still will not have Black Hole for a long time, nor a Midnight Pulse. You have Malefice, which they can throw out at the very least. Going to throw in those Naga Siren illusions. Rooted up for the moment is Koikva. Still trying to bring down this Roche. This is a really dangerous moment. They're going to buy back on the Sand King, too. They need everybody that they can to try and secure this Roche. This is a huge moment for them. Midnight Pulse down onto everybody. They got the A blast to jump in. The silence, they got him caught. They bring down the Roche, but the turnaround with the epicenter burrow strike is there. Magical got that Aegis. They lose both the Slurk and the Magnus. Now Boxy just barely able to jump away, but a huge win for Na'Vi. Boxy, one last hero to be chased down as he has been silenced over and over, and a double for Magical, who made it all happen.
God, that was a total disaster for Liquid. They're actually team wiped. Insania is going to die too.
Oh no.
So, dieback from Mag. Everyone else on the side of Liquid dies, and they get nothing. the puck picked up the Aegis in that little scuffle there. It was a really nice jump in from the Tiny as well, because he went essentially right as Roshan was about to die. And the Ice Blast on top, God, that was very well executed. It was just really unfortunate timing as well, because by the time it was low HP, Pasha had Midnight Pulse again. So when he throws that in the pit, and just that and the Ice Blast alone are enough to like kill everyone if they don't leave the pit.
Dude, this is just a tier 3 tower. Like,
yeah.
They've got so much push with this, they can't stop it. And now you're going to be walking back into this with Black Hole coming up again soon. So Liquid not only lose the objectives, they use buybacks, use everything. And it's Na'Vi that take it all.
I think that the way this game is playing out to me and the way that Liquid are moving around the map, it feels to me like they feel they're outdrafted. Like there's too many variables in the team fights that they can't really account for. Like one is the song. There are 2 BKBs out now on the side of Liquid. Like Mickey has his. I think he actually had it for the last fight, and Koiko just picked up his, so that's 10-second BKB for him. But the issue is the Enigma is scaring them so much. Like you see how hesitant they are to really commit to something, and the only time they went in is when they had buyback and they knew Black Hole was down.
Magical gets away because of the Lincoln Sphere. Taiga is not going to be so lucky as they have the sentry down. They find that kill. And, you know, again, just going back to that Roche fight one more time, because it was the biggest thing that happened so far in this game. That was fight without Song. That was fight without Black Hole. That was fight without the majority of the ultimates, but they still were able to take it. And Liquid, God, their back's up against the wall now. It's just feeling real rough.
It's the Roshan trap. We talked about it yesterday. A lot of the time when you see a big team fight ultimate like Black Hole being expended to kill a core and that core has buyback, you would normally favor that team in the next engagement, right? Just because of the long CD spells. It's like they are pinging out bottom. I don't know if Zach actually wants to go on this. But because of the nature of the Roche pit and that everyone's clumped up inside of it, when your cores get hit by an Ice Blast and then a Tiny is able to just freely blink into the pit and get a full combo, that's, you know, you might as well have just gotten Black Hole, right? Because it's a stun, it's a huge amount of burst damage, you're in the Midnight Pulse anyway. It's functionally the same thing. So you're putting yourself in a position where Navi's heroes are going to excel because every single one of them has AoE damage. All of them.
So how are you feeling about this Na'Vi team, what we're seeing so far? Because I think a lot of people weren't rating them very highly, but so far, like the decision making, the individual play, Zayat's just been hanging out in these trees forever. Now he's going to try and find Mickey as they are looking to open up on him. Magical in the area too. Do they want to jump? Ooh,
night vision. He saw him, yeah.
Off.
Yeah, Magical, I think, got revealed there because Slark sees very far at nighttime. But it's, to me, this is like a draft thing. Because what hero starts the fight for Liquid, you know? Like, it pretty much has to be Taiga. And if Taiga starts the fight, he's never getting an epicenter off. Because the way that the fights go right now is there's Song and Black Hole for counter initiation, which are 2 very, very, you know, terrifying teamfight ults. And like we already mentioned, both your cores are melee.
Yeah.
So which one of these guys is going to get all the spells dumped on them? You have no save besides reload. And if you're, like we mentioned already, if the Sand King's going in, how's he ever going to get an epi off? If he has to be like the lead in the fight. So who starts the fight? The Phoenix can't really get any spells off because there's a puck. He's
oh no, and now they found him yet again, and they can break this leash if they need to. They're gonna try and toss him out. Snaps the tether, but that does mean Mad Mickey can get away for the moment. Burrow Strike, okay, this is looking a little bit better. Supernova down onto all of them. Not a bad way to make it happen, but the Song and then trade block. No, the RP, it's not quite good enough. They managed to kill off that Supernova, but Crystallize still singing, and the Black Hole down, it's only onto 1. Not looking quite good enough, but with the rest of the damage coming in from that AA Blast, it might be enough. Mickey did not get hit by that AA Blast, so he might be able to just run a train on them if he can manage to get the chase down, but Zayat jumps back in, puts the kibosh onto that, and trying to tether to a range creep, but ain't gonna do it. Another team wipe. And man, Na'Vi are doing it.
That was the best outcome of a team fight in terms of abilities used, I think. Because, well, for Liquid, and it sounds ironic because they got team wiped, but they got an RP while the egg was still alive on the 2 heroes. The Naga got really low. They Song to kill the egg, which, you know, they did end up killing. But the Black Hole got interrupted immediately. Like
Yeah.
Taiga was able to blink in and burrow strike because BKB on Pasha had already been used. So it really like it wasn't that bad in terms of ability exchange, but they're just so far behind that it didn't really matter. So this is like the picture that I see in my head of a team who just their draft can't play into what Navi are doing.
Right.
Like it's just so difficult. Your margin for error is tiny. It's like if your Sand King isn't on point with a stun, then the fight's over. If the Mag and the Slark get caught by like the same spell, the fight's over. Even if the egg goes off, the Enigma already has BKB and things like that. There's I don't know. It seems extremely difficult to play Liquid's lineup at this point.
They're gonna back out there. Yeah, it's all feeling so tough. And granted, you had this like Slark Magnus who's has the potential to be super empowered and doing a lot of damage if he can hit somebody, but that's just not been what we've seen. Does have only 8 seconds left on that BKB, trying to go for the Aghanim Scepter, but they get the repair kit. All right, Handy, this is what we needed. Let's see if they can do it.
I mean, if the repair kit delays the game and their team was like functionally better later in the game, I would be like, I would cheer for this repair kit. I'd be like, hell yeah, they needed it. But they don't outscale.
Okay,
right. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like this puck, we talked about Aghanims. He's got it selected now. Actually, after the Lincolns, obviously that he bought for the Sand King, so he doesn't keep dying. He went for the Deso, and now Aghanims after the fact. God, man, some lineups, they need to be playing from ahead. Some lineups need to be able to play the map, and Liquid's lineup needs to be able to play the map. You have like a Slark, this Blink Sand King, heroes that can like D-ward, abuse vision, and they can play quickly, even though they do have some big teamfight ultimates. But as long as Na'Vi have their own ults available, they are just not able to do anything. Like they're walking inside of their base. And yeah, they don't have the greatest division, but Na'Vi only really have 3 heroes on the side of the map, and they're still scared. Like they don't feel like they can move out on the map anywhere.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's completely feeling like Na'Vi are the ones that are not only in control, but will remain in control for the foreseeable future. I will say that I'm getting a little recollection of what happened yesterday when 5 heroes walked into a repair kit over and over and over again.
That was a rough one. We're not going to think about that too much.
But I don't know if that's going to happen this time. People checked it out, saw what happened. We will see how this goes. But at this point, it's like, just Song walk in if you want, or just walk in and then Song to get away. It is a little bit interesting to me that Na'Vi aren't willing to go for Rosh. It looks like they're trying to pick off somebody as they go in and just going to hit the tier 3 tower there for the moment. But Rosh is up. It could have been a quick move back there if they wanted. They have vision from this mango tree. See that it's up.
I think one of the easiest ways to throw a game is to Rosh right now if you're Na'Vi.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because it's... Okay, so the way that Liquid can win a fight is if they somehow get a multi-man RP. They are going to go for the Roshan trade, though.
Okay.
Boxy is going to be trading his life. He does have buyback. They might feel that this Aegis is the only way. Yeah, they're even going to get scanned out.
Oh, no.
Are they just going to go back to fight it? The Naga's going with
Oh,
Song.
Ice Blast. Got to be careful. Oh, yeah. All right. And just like that, they lose the Phoenix. They lose the tier 3, and they also end up losing the Rax. But they are still sticking around.
Important note.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, it's still important, but it's not like... The melee Rax pushes the lane much harder.
Yeah. All right, Na'Vi, see what they can do. Bottom lane still going to push in from all the Eidolons and everything else. But can Quakeva find the RP for the ages? As they toss in the Slark, he has to pop the BKB now. The Burrow Strike comes through onto 2. Song of the Siren already out. Mickey trying to lay into Crystallize. Switches off, takes all of his illusions away, but they have the Black Hole afterwards, going to connect onto 2. That's all of the heroes that could possibly save the day. The IO gets evaporated. Now the Chase 4 looking for more. As they break the coil, they break the Slark. And I think that it is time to tap the middle of your keyboard, those 2 magical letters, GG. Because holy hell, Na'Vi are doing it.
Yeah, their draft is just so good, honestly. Like, they answered every single thing that Liquid could possibly do with their heroes this game. And again, I think that the biggest factor is it boils down to this double melee core. Like there's not enough happening in the fight. Like you can't force Pasha to BKB Black Hole because you don't have enough threatening spells, right? Like who goes on him and makes him cast spells? It can't be Taiga. He doesn't do enough damage. Then you have an Io. Then you have this Phoenix who's basically just been doing nothing but dying the whole game.
Yeah.
No one can force it out of him. So if the Naga is able to just song as soon as the Slark pops BKB and they just kite out the Slark during the duration of that, every time Pasha is going to get his target. Like there's nothing you can do to stop it, and that to me is more of a draft issue. I would say even like some of the top teams would have had a very hard time playing this lineup until what Navi have picked.
Well, now they need to defend one last time if possible. We'll see if they can do it. Liquid holding on. Navi playing it very safe. Just going to send in those Manta-style illusions. Try and take down this melee Rax. Magical jumps in, gets the silence, gets the blink out afterwards. They take down the Rax, and now they're going to head up towards the north. Liquid needing to find an answer. It feels like they're almost resigned at this point to having to possibly play around Mega Creeps. Unless they want
to have power.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't want to play around Megas. They're probably just going to have to.
That's true enough. Even dealing with those just two Naga Siren illusions is so difficult for Mickey right now.
Yeah, I mean, Crystallize has had a pretty free game. The whole, like, tri-lane idea from Liquid, maybe give Boxy a few extra levels, transition into, like, maybe getting some kills top. Like, the idea wasn't bad, but, man, the mid-game was just suffering. Like, they got double outposted twice. They could never take team fights. Yeah. I'm honestly at a loss as to what their heroes are supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, and now they send in these illusions one by one to try and see if they can whittle down Liquid and, more importantly, whittle down that tower. As slowly and steadily they're going to burn it down. BKB, so there's no toss out to break the coil, but the Burrow Strike comes through. They passed over the Lincolns from Magical. Make sure he didn't get Burrow Struck. So BKB now down on Mickey. They did use coil, but it's back up in 25 seconds. So they're waiting for the next creep wave to come on into the base here. Taking down that Observer Ward. Still beating into this tower. Liquid valiantly staying in this one till the bitter end, it looks like. They are going to eventually take this tier 3. I mean, is there any, like, smoke around play? It feels like they need to get on top of the back line.
Everyone's too tanky, though. Like, look at Pasha's inventory. He's got Lincoln's BKB, he's got 2,700 health. The Slark's not going to kill him fast enough. The only way that they win a fight is if they somehow RP the Naga and the Enigma together. That's how they win.
Jump in. Xayah. Oh, he's just going to be able to force staff and walk away. And the Supernova expended, not able to get anything for it. Mickey still down low. And one by one, the right clicks come in from the Naga Siren. Death by 10 billion individual little cuts as they get the Burrow Strike, or rather the toss back, catch him out. BKB comes off, but he's immediately going to die afterwards. Mega Creeps are now there for Navi, and Pasha looking for the big plaid back hole. He connects onto 3 of them. RP afterwards, not nearly enough. They buy back on the Slark, seeing if they can do anything at all, but GG is finally called, as this one was looking over for the last couple of minutes. Holy hell.
Yeah, I'm running it over in my head, and I'm wondering if there's like a different laning setup that they could do that would make this game feel less painful during, you know, the 15 to 35 minute mark. Because God, they just didn't feel like they could make a single play anywhere, even when they fought bottom. And I would say that they used their spells way better than Navi used theirs. They still got crushed.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. It seems to me like their lineup just did not function into what Navi were doing. Like the Naga Enigma combo against this double melee, and like with the AA on top of it, it was just so good. Like Navi's draft this game was, in my opinion, just much, much better than Liquid's.
Well, and I'm wondering too, like if we think back to the draft and what happened in it, there was that long wait that they had after the second round of bans, where like they went all the way down to 7 seconds of reserve time. Which tells me that like there was either some type of switch up in the draft or something happened, and then after that they were like making decisions quick, and then they just didn't. I maybe think to ban out the Enigma last or something. Whatever ended up happening with that, it was Definitely an unfortunate series of events. Um, any final words before we go to a quick break?
Yeah, I think for the next game, maybe just give Koikva a hero that's gonna like control the pace of the game a bit more. Like
Mhm.
Mag has a tendency to be this more farm oriented guy who he does offer team fight, but they were like it was so much pressure on him to get like a perfect RP, and it's so hard, right? Because first off, you have three ranged heroes. Naga's super tanky, and if you do mess up, there's always Song counter initiation in the black hole. So give him a hero that maybe can play a little bit faster,
Mm.
so that way you have something going on the map, and not just like this Slark who wants to hit creeps, and then this Mag who also wants to hit creeps, but you don't have like an ability to fight. Like they need to be able to take engagements. They had a Wisp and they couldn't use relocate offensively like at all the whole game.
Yeah, that's really bad. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a few minutes as we get ready to hop into game number 2. Stay tuned. Navi facing off against Team Liquid right after this.